lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast that prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast. I'm Matt Howell.
And I'm Jacob Balcom.
And this is our... Which episode is this, Jacob? Fourth episode.
4.
What are we talking about today?
We're talking about Werewolf by Night issue 1, as in it says on the cover, now in his own mag.
That's right. If you've been paying attention to our previous episodes, Werewolf by Night was featured in Marvel Spotlight for 3 issues, and he was apparently very popular, and they spun him off into his own book by his 4th story, or 4th issue even. 2nd story, really. Right? 3rd story? Whatever. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is the story that I mentioned before that I bought this. I saved up and bought this one thinking that I could get to the start of the story. And it starts in media res in the middle of an exciting plot point. But we already know about that because we talked about it last episode. So the cover, in my mind, I know that this is me being skewed because of my tendency towards this character so much. But to me, this is a super iconic cover. It's on the omnibus. Is it iconic? Did you recognize it when you saw it, Jacob, for the first time? Or is that just me being biased?
No, I don't think I recognized it the first time. No, it is on the cover of the omnibus, though, right?
The regular edition, yes. So we have a lovely Ploog drawing, a panel with the Wolfman inside of an alleyway, kind of cowering or whatever, and he's crouched down, and there's garbage littered everywhere, and there's a young, cool, hip couple walking away from us with their arms around each other. And the guy says, sheesh, idle. What does he say? Sorry, I can't see through the cracks in the...
He says, sheesh, this whole place is dull city tonight, baby.
Oh, that's right. And then she says, yeah, I sure wish something would happen. Anything. The irony being that there's a deadly monster working in the alley behind them. And the bottom says, full moon rise, werewolf kill.
I love that.
Me too. And I love Ploog's pencils on here and all the coloring too. Gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, so we turn to page 1, and it's Werewolf by Night. The title of the story is Eye of the Beholder. And it's written again by Gerry Conway, artist Mike Ploog, John Costa letterer, Frank Monti inker, so Ploog has a little help this issue, Roy Thomas editor, and then it's a ubiquitous name, Irving Forbush stonecutter.
I didn't even notice that one. I think that was the one I did not read.
Yeah, so those who don't know, it's Irving Forbush is the alter ego of Forbush Man. I looked back, and he originally appeared in like the letterhead of SNAFU, which was like a mad ripoff magazine that Stan Lee came up with, I think in like 57. And it was Atlas? Written by Stan. Yeah. It was SNAFU. Atlas era, written by Stan Lee, drawn by John Severin, Bill Everett, and Joe Manili. And they were kind of dubbed the Three Musketeers by Marie Severin. So his first major appearance was in Not Brand Echh, I think, which we would know him from.
Yes.
And that went on from the Silver Age all the way, to the 90s, really.
Right. Early 90s.
Yeah.
Not
and a Forbush Man, he has the pot on his head with the eye holes and the. And
he has like johns. Red long johns on or something, right? And a cape.
It's something that Stan Lee probably thought was really, really funny and is mildly funny.
And he'd pop up like in Stan's editorial pages sometimes in a little corner illustration or something, right? Like he was really into that little guy.
Yeah, but also I think that during the Silver Age, like I thought the credit Irving Forbush would show up, like even in like Amazing Spider-Man and stuff, like as a joke in some of the credits. Correct?
It did, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
No, you're right. It's ubiquitous.
Yeah. And so I know we were a little curious last issue about who is coloring these. And so I did a little bit of research, and I guess you could say at this time, Well, right before this issue, Marie Severin was in charge of coloring at Marvel, and she had been in charge of it since the Silver Age for, probably, 7 or 8 years at this point. And at some point in 72, she stepped aside and George Rousseau took over. Marie Severin went on to pencil a lot of other things in the 70s. And so this is most likely colored by George Rousseau, who also went by the name George Bell. He inked a lot of Kirby FF in the early 60s, so he did a lot of stuff.
Do you know which one's his actual name? Is it Rousseau?
I think it's Rousseau, yeah.
Is it Russo?
No,
or is it like French, like it's Roussseau?
It's Roussos. But I looked, and his I think it was his wiki that showed that it was pronounced Rousseau or Rousseau.
Huh. Okay.
So that's as close as I can get, because as we found, the credits for coloring is not given hardly ever, and not a ton about it online.
When did colorists start getting their due really as a standard? Late 80s, mid 80s?
I think maybe 70s, early 80s. I think it started showing up a little bit more.
Okay.
I think DC did a little bit more of that. It was that one Tatiana Wood, I think, was who was in charge of coloring over at DC. And I remember seeing that name like on, maybe Alan Moore Swamp Thing stuff and other stuff like that. So
I recognize the name.
DC. Yeah. It's just one of those things that, you'd see around. So colorists started to get their due, but
now they're almost like billed stars of a book anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's an Eisner Award for them. So, and there's some really talented people out there, but no one really. It's all digital now, pretty much. I'd say probably 90%.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so this first page is a splash page, and it shows our hero Jack Russell in his werewolf form, totally turned to stone, as we saw he was last issue. He looks great. He's framed by the moon, some amazing looking trees. It's kind of that wonderful blue in the background that's used in a lot of the more striking panels.
And I really love the angle this is done from like a worm's eye view, looking up at him with the moon in the background. Very cool perspective.
Yeah, and kind of like how you touched on last issue, you said that this issue especially, like Ploog really upped his game. Like he leveled up for sure. The art in this issue is super great from start to finish.
Yeah, achievement unlocked. For sure. Yeah, the perspective is super dope in here, and we didn't talk about this, but there's some inner monologue coming from Jack as he's frozen in stone form, and he's kind of just saying that he's the hell of this reality is that he is completely awake and thinking and aware, but in stone, which is nightmarish to me, that concept.
Yeah, it's totally nightmarish. Like reading a lot of this narration. Yeah, it kind of did remind me of like, Atlas Era horror or EC horror, where he just, is frozen. And then at the bottom he says, I still thought, Lord in heaven, help me. I could still think, which, is terrifying to me, to be frozen, yet still awake.
Makes me think of Johnny Got His Gun or whatever, like the Metallica 1 video where it's like everything's blown off except you got a brain and a trunk.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, that's worst case scenario for me. I can't think of any worst case.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a dire start for this guy in his first issue of his book. So on page 2, Ploog's in kind of a bind here because his lead character is frozen solid. So we have an entire page of panels that are all the beast from different perspectives and angles, while there's inner monologue explaining for the new reader what's going on. So explaining, hey, I came to Blackgar Island looking for the Darkhold book, and this gorgon turned me into stone. So in case you just picked this up like Matt Howell did back in 1987, you know what the hell's going on. Part of his inner monologue I really liked. He said, my father, a European scholar and aristocrat, and more, a warlock and a werewolf, who now dead, had left me another inheritance as well, the curse of a werewolf born. Doesn't really come trippingly off the tongue, but I really like how packed that was with information.
It's really packed, but is also really great. Again, Conway is great. It's a great author.
And we're also reminded in the bottom of the page in a narration box that this is Blackgar Island. It was shipped over from the Eastern European region of Transylvania to the West Coast, brick by brick, and reassembled faithfully. So I love that they're really leaning into that. Normally you would just mention that as a plot point and then move on and try and avoid it because it's a little sketchy.
No, they totally lean into it.
Which I'm really happy about. And there's a great drawing. There's two great drawings here, the top of the page and the bottom, of Jack's father's castle reassembled on this island off the coast of it's outside Monterey. And maybe it's the political climate in this country, maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but I was fantasizing while I was reading this afternoon about what if you had this island? Like, just look at this awesome castle tucked away. I mean, you could do like the most dangerous game. Anytime somebody crashes there or surfs up there or something, you could hunt them down for sport. You could sail into Salinas? Is that what's there? Do like the John Steinbeck tour of all of the places he wrote about.
But I like that your first instinct was most dangerous game. Second instinct was Steinbeck tour.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, well, from like Monterey, it's not too far to San Francisco. So then you can just drive up to Amoeba Records, get some vinyl,
go to City Lights,
get some granola. Yeah. City Lights, get supplies, and come back to your castle on an island in the Pacific Ocean. And so I fantasized about that quite a bit, as you can tell. Then I moved on. In the Beast's head, he's thinking about how Marlene turned him into a statue, and she is the one that he must kill, and he's just there fuming and raving internally and stuck.
Then we go to the next page, and man, that first panel. So again, this is another one of Ploog's transformation panels, and he does not repeat himself. It's a different, amazing rendering of the transformation from Jack into a werewolf each time. And all of them are just astonishing.
Completely different approaches.
Yeah, completely. Now, this one almost seems to have Jack in like a half werewolf form, then the full werewolf form. And it almost seemed like he's surrounded by his own bloodstream. I saw like those dots more as platelets. Is that a weird thing? Am I high?
No, that makes sense. No, whenever I see those, I always just think of them as Kirby Crackle, because Kirby always drew those, and Steve Ditko and that character Static, but like just these black bubbles of stuff. So I always think of Kirby Crackle, but you're right. I think it looks like it's more because he's talking about burning up, right? As he's changing in this transformation, he's very hot and it's fiery. So yeah, I think that might be his blood kind of boiling.
That was my first thought, but yeah, it's just fucking amazing. And so then we realize that, he is back to his human form. And he is found by that old pen pusher, Buck Cowan, who still doesn't know Jack is a werewolf and stays kind of blissfully ignorant for a while. Yeah,
there's a nice Three's Company kind of tension between Lissa and Buck and Jack for a while here, where people are not aware of everybody's situations. That's always fun.
Yeah, and Buck just keeps finding Jack just passed out in random places. Does he think he's a junkie? Does he think he's just some weird hippie ass kid? I don't know. Yeah, but he's always pretty nice. He's Buck. He's a nice guy.
He's amiable.
But he's still thinking about the Darkhold, though. He asks.
Yeah. Remind me at the end of this issue to ask you about what we think Buck thinks, because I was curious about something he said. Didn't know how to take it, but we'll revisit that at the end.
He is curious about why Jack is there, but wants to help, and helps him up and asks if he's found the Darkhold.
So a couple things on this page. I'm not surprised that Jack has a walloping headache after being turned to stone as a werewolf and then turned back into human and flesh at the same time. So that gives you a hangover. Not a big surprise there, but I like that Jack has a joke here where Buck says, "Where were you, man? I've been looking all over the island for you, all morning, night, whatever." And we realized that he was a statue at that time amongst a bunch of other statues in the garden. So he says, "Oh, I'm a master of disguise. You didn't see me," which I guess is a joke. But there's a really great portrait of Buck on this page as well, and he's an interesting dude. He kind of looks like a Kirby guy, like a big kind of meathead, kind of like Ben Grimm before Ben Grimm changed. But he looks to me almost like a B-movie Western sidekick, not the main guy, but
No.
like the main dude in a B-movie Western's best friend.
Yeah, he does. And it's that tough, but, friendly kind of look to him. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a Buck fan.
Yeah, me too.
They run into the castle and grab the Darkhold from where Jack saw it last, but then they hear a noise. So they duck into the shadows, and one of Blackgar's freaks is roaming around looking for Jack. Or he's coming from the library. And they look out the window, and I love, this is the window where Jack and Miles Blackgar fought, and Jack threw him out the window last issue. And he looks out, he's pointing down the courtyard, and he says, yeah, this is where Blackgar fell.
Yeah. And he looks down, and Blackgar's totally crippled by Jack.
Yes, so he's in a wheelchair. Marlene is there with him in the courtyard. They're looking down from a window at this, and a huge muscle-bound, he almost looks like Absorbing Man, or he's like very simian. So, some of those freaks we saw last issue were kind of simian, but this is another one of them, and he's just big, muscle-bound, shirtless, bald guy.
Yeah,
and
he does have a Crusher Creel kind of feel to him.
His name is Strug, and he speaks just like you'd expect him to. Marlene asks him where the book was, and because that's where he was. That's why he was in the library. He was looking for the Darkhold, and he says, "Not there. Strug looked. Only sent like before when Strug killed Garth." So that's how he talks. Yep. And the scent we know is he's caught a spore of Jack's bestial self. He can smell the wolf that remaining there.
That's right. On the next page, so Marlene realizes that Jack has escaped his stone prison, or the werewolf has escaped his stone prison, and kind of says some ominous shit. She's just like, so our friend's escaped, has he? How unfortunate for our dear Mr. Russell, and how very, very unfortunate for him. And so, Jack says in the narration, he senses the tone of madness in her voice. So he says, you hear that, Buck? That means we move now. So they fucking hightail it out of there. And then we see that Buck, now, did Buck get to the island on this little plane? I was kind of, okay. So he obviously chartered this little plane. And so they go and just, haul ass off of Blackgar Island.
It's very Indiana Jones escape.
It totally is.
So, they're at Buck's place now. It's right there on Venice Boulevard. So he lives just outside of Venice Beach, essentially. They're looking over the Darkhold, and he's talking about Jack's dad a little bit and the sale of the castle. Jack explains that his father was a scholar and, this warlock and all this stuff and into these lofty pursuits. But his stepfather, Phil, he's one of the original anti-intellectuals. So we get another little nugget about Philip Russell. He's a stodgy middle-aged fuck, and he's also an anti-intellectual. So there's more reason for us to hate him.
Damn right.
Then Jack's talking about, Philip never liked me and Lissa, and oh my God, Lissa's probably worried sick about me. So he places a call to his home to talk to Lissa, and she answers the phone, and she says that she needs to talk to him, and she seems very distraught. And
he, in that last panel, he says, hey, is something wrong? He kind of realizes she sounds a little different, even though she should sound weird because Jack's kind of been a shitty brother these last couple issues. He just disappears or runs out on her when she's in trouble. So, yeah, she must not think too highly of him right now, but is still being a good sister. So on the next page, she's like, no, Jack, nothing's wrong. No, stepfather isn't here just now. We can talk. But guess what? The stepfather is totally there, and so is Marlene and Miles and Strug. So they basically went to Philip, said, hey, your stepson stole our shit, and you better get him to bring it back, and maybe we won't press charges. So Philip is basically forcing Lissa to, set up a meet with Jack so they can get him and get the Darkhold back. And see down on the last panel, Philip, God, he's just smoking his pipe constantly.
His lungs,
my God. But he's not too happy with Jack. He says Jack's gotten a little big for himself lately. It's time he was taught a lesson in self-control. So he sends Lissa with the Blackgars and Strug to ambush Jack and Buck.
Yeah, I looked this address up, by the way.
Me too.
It's not real.
No, it's not. It's like a parking lot or like it's not real. It's not an actual address.
So I think Jack tells her that it's like 3984 or something like that, Venice. And I found 3970, and that's on a corner. So there is no, it's on the corner of St. Andrews and Venice Boulevard.
Yep.
But not real. So don't bother booking your tickets to going down there, because I was going to do it.
Yeah. It was a 555 type of address.
So, yeah. Although it is in the Marvel Horror Wiki as a location.
Right. So it's a 616 address, basically.
Yes, yeah. It is. So I have a question before we move on here. This has been happening in every issue so far. They constantly refer to Philip as dad and then pause and catch themselves and then double back and say stepfather or Philip. I don't think you're a stepchild, or I am, and I never accidentally call my stepdad my dad.
No, I don't think that's something a human being does.
Okay. It seems weird to confuse your biological father and this asshole that married your mom for her fortune.
Yeah, and it's not like, Philip just showed up. Like, they've pretty much grown up with only him as a father figure, but they're just kind of, they still get mixed up.
Yeah, I think Jack was 3 when his dad died, and Melissa was a newborn. So yeah. She doesn't know her father at all, but so that one almost makes sense, I guess. But I don't know. I just can't see anyone accepting this guy as like, this guy's my dad.
No.
With his ascot.
His ascot and pipe. No, he's a stodgy old fuck. Like no one would mistake. If you were told that your real dad was this awesome warlock fucking vampire, like that's who you want to be your dad, not Philip.
Exactly. The Blackgars and Strug arrive at Buck's place. Strug kicks the door in wearing the funkiest ass hippie vest in the world. I'm glad that he decided to cover his nipples to go into L.A.
Yeah, where did you get that vest?
I think he got it from Johnny Bravo once Greg Brady decided he wasn't cut out for the hipster music scene. But he bangs the door in, and Buck jumps up and says, "What in the name of purple heaven?"
Something a human being says all the time, right?
Big fan of that. Strug hits Buck pretty hard, knocks him out. Jack takes a chair, busts it over Strug's head, which also supports my B-movie Western star theory. Like that's one of those breakaway saloon chairs, maybe. Yeah. Marlene comes in. They've taken Lissa with them as kind of a hostage, and they've rolled Miles in, and so he's like completely. They say he's paralyzed from the waist down. We find, but he seems to be almost like a stroke victim. Like he doesn't move his arms. He doesn't talk.
No, he can't talk. He can just kind of moan and just.
So why didn't they say that?
I don't know.
Huh. So at any rate, Marlene holds a gun on Lissa and says, you're the one that caused my father this injury. You hurt him. You paralyzed him. And, everything goes wrong here. Your sister Lissa is going to have the same fate as my father.
Yeah. So next we see that Strug has Jack in a pretty serious headlock. Buck is down for the count. He's out. Marlene says, filial devotion is an odd thing, Jack. Before his accident, I despised my father, blaming him for my mutant eyes. Yet now I only want to aid him by finding the book called The Darkhold and using it to restore his now crippled form. I mean, that's a plan. That might work.
The Darkhold is everybody's cure for every problem they've ever had. Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I mean, that's it is the MacGuffin, right?
Yes.
Like it's the cure all for everything.
Right.
And then here's another thing that's happened a lot is that in like stressful situations where Jack gets like lightly hit or held or put in a headlock, instantly goes to sleep.
No, Strug is doing the sleeper hold on him.
Okay, he is doing a sleeper hold. Okay.
So that's this fair. I know what you're saying though. Fair. I totally know what you're saying. But this time he was actually rendered unconscious by Strug.
Okay.
This one's fair.
Yeah. No, you're right. So, Jack falls asleep. He wakes up. Not outside, but he's still inside. And I like that Conway's the text in the box of Conway says, I awoke hours later outside the patio doors. the sky was turning a dusky purple. So he's really into purple this issue.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that as well.
So yeah, so he's out on the patio looking in. He sees that Lissa and Buck are tied up back to back in chairs.
Can I ask you something before
Yes.
we move on? I thought the same thing, and then when he just read it, I realized Conway was, when he's saying the patio doors, he's talking about the purple knight is outside the patio doors.
Oh,
I just understood it. The first two times I read it, I was like, why the hell is Jack outside and they're all inside? It doesn't make any sense. And now when he said it, I was like, oh, then
No,
purple
you're right.
knight is outside the patio doors.
Yeah, I got distracted by the purple knight. Messed up my perspective. So yeah, so they're basically searching for the Darkhold. Strug can't find anything. Marlene is admonishing him. Strug said, Strug looked, only scent like before. So Miles in his chair sees that Jack's awake and is making his moaning as And so Jack does my favorite move of the entire issue.
Yes.
He says he sees me. I got to make my move now. And he kicks Miles' wheelchair into Strug. So he kicks the guy that he already crippled by throwing out a window and then kicks him in the wheelchair towards Strug, knocking Strug down.
Yeah. Jack will do what needs doing. And I like that about him, actually.
Yeah, I do too. He doesn't give a fuck.
So he bolts up and then he grabs Marlene and throws her against the wall in his mad dash to get out because he's about to change. It is night and he needs to move. So he runs to the patio doors. He's trying to pull the sliding glass door open, and Lissa and Buck are like, hey, Jack, untie us. Jack, where the hell are you going? And he's realizing, I can't stop and explain what's going on. I can't think of a lie right now to get out of here. I have to get out of here. I'm going to turn into the beast, and I could kill both of them. He runs out of Buck's place, and he's running down Venice Boulevard. And the bottom panel is this great shot of this hippie couple, not the ones from the cover. These are real hippies with beards and little linen glasses. And he's got a guitar on his shoulder. And there's a rad dude with like an Irish golfing cap on. And he's got this long, dopey face. Looks totally like a Mad Magazine drawing. Walking
That's
his
what
dog.
I thought too. It's like a Mort Drucker drawing or something.
Yes.
Like it's so good.
And Jack's just dashing down the sidewalk thinking, run, Jack, run before the moonlight comes, before everything you are or think you are vanishes and dies.
And then we see next page is probably another favorite panel of mine in the whole issue. It's just this perspective of Jack running. Again, we just have this kind of, these great blobs of color behind him, red, orange, yellow. And again, I think the position of Jack's body, his face, it all is very Will Eisner to me.
Yeah.
You can really see that Ploog studied under Eisner. And it's just awesome. Jack is was this what my life had become? An endless race against time, a race to escape not just my past, but my future. So he is trying to run as far away as he can before he turns into the werewolf.
Great art on this page.
Yeah, every panel on this page is fucking masterwork. Like Jack framed in the
Jack
blue
silhouetted.
moon. Oh my God. So he's wishing for unconsciousness. He's kind of lamenting that he could hurt an innocent person like a sister or Buck. And so then he's saying, the rush, it's starting. The transformation is starting.
And he's also concerned because he doesn't know, because the last time he was a wolf, he was turned into a statue. And the only thing that broke that spell was the magic of him turning back into his human form. So he doesn't know if the magic is going to kick in again. He's going to become a statue. So on top of all of his werewolf issues, he doesn't know if he's still cursed by the Gorgon's gaze.
You're right. This is more stress than he's used to already.
And then on the next page, we get a beautiful 3-panel transformation of Jack leaning his head forward and then looking up. And then he starts howling as a wolf. And on the third panel, his head's tilted back and he's howling at the moon. Lovely Ploog. Ploog is just on top to this issue, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I'm thinking back, like both of us have read a lot of Golden Age horror. Like I've read a lot of EC. I've read a lot of Atlas era, Marvel horror. Menace is, a big favorite of mine. I know you love EC stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think what Ploog is doing here is equal, if not better, than any of the things that those great artists back then did. Like he's just on fire.
Yeah, I think he's on par with, I don't know who your favorite EC artists are, but I think, is it Jack Kamen is one of my favorites, and Johnny Craig.
I'm going to go with Ghastly.
Ghastly?
Yeah, what is it? Now I can't remember his name. Yeah, Graham Ingles.
Graham Ingles. I love him too, but for some reason I always gravitate towards Craig and Kamen.
Well, Craig and Kamen are a little, they're a little more, I mean, not mainstream. They're a little more normal in their art.
Definitely.
Like Graham Ingles, like even his good guys look like horror shows. Like everyone looks like some kind of melting monster.
He looks like he's on acid. Like he looks like he's having a really unpleasant acid trip when he's drawing anything. A puppy could look like it was mealy and tacky to the touch and smelled foul. And I love Graham Ingles. I do love Graham. I'm sorry, but I just. Again, my gut always goes to those kind of more cartoony, mainstreamy kind of guys like that. They just with the handsome macho man, beautiful pinup kind of girls, and great monsters. Well, Johnny Craig, would probably be my second favorite by far. But yes, I agree. Ploog is in that category easily. So we have the second night, and this is awesome. This is the first time I think that a series of moons has crossed over an issue and spread out over two different issues.
That's what I noticed too.
So Jack ran as far away from society as he could get on foot before the change happened. He got out to a lake, somewhere out in the woods. And then as soon as the transformation happens, the beast wants to go back and attack the people that attacked him. So he bolts all the way back, retreads Jack's footsteps, and he runs by an odd scene that felt very 50s to me. It's like a grocer wearing those, when grocers wear like an apron, and they like tie the little string in front, like butchers wear them mostly now, but in the old days, every grocer wore them. Or a pharmacist. He was like a he's talking to a little kid carrying a bag of groceries. It was like a really weird 50s magazine spot illustration for like, I don't know, Grit or something. It was just a weird.
You're right. It does look like a Grit illustration. It's just some tiny redheaded kid, some little Clint Howard there.
Yeah, I thought that was really weird. But the werewolf is slinking around the alleyways waiting for this nice, benign, but now normal scene between this man and this child, this interaction to pass so he can move past and get to Buck's place.
So he arrives at Buck's place. He's kind of lurking outside, and then he jumps and attacks Strug. And I like what Strug says. He says, "The scent. Strug remembers. Strug has known it before. You are the one who helped Strug. Strug doesn't want to hurt you." But then, of course, he says, "But Strug must. Miss wants book, wants Strug to find it." So they start grappling. And again, I thought just the movement of their fight is so good. It's like Ditko level good.
Yeah, super dynamic. Totally love it.
So yeah, Strug is just talking about how he knows that the werewolf took the book, and so he must fight the werewolf. Strug must obey.
He's conflicted because he remembers that Jack, the beast, freed him and all the other freaks from the cellar pen that they were kept in. And that's when he killed Garth that he was mentioning earlier. So he feels bad, but his first loyalty is to the Blackgars and Marlene. So he has to fight the wolf. He grabs the beast by his foot and he's swinging him around the room. And the beast reaches out and grabs on the chandelier. Using his momentum, he swings up, lifts his legs up, goes over the handrail of the second floor, swings back down using that momentum he gained, and flies into Strug. Great fucking scene.
It is. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a great action move.
Yeah. And Marlene and her father are watching this, and she's thinking, God, Strug's so fucking stupid. Why is he the one I spared? I turned all the other freaks into stone, and I left this one animate.
Oh, no.
And so they get to the point where the beast has his legs wrapped around Strug's waist, like when you have a little kid and you're spinning around and around in circles, and they're like locking their legs on you, going wee. But it's not that fun.
Yeah. So chaos is basically ensuing. The next panel, it's Jack's thinking, "I could hear the old man snarling wordlessly, commanding his daughter." So you have Miles in his wheelchair just making these guttural utterances. It's kind of freaking everybody out. And then Marlene, in this great panel in the middle, fires a shot. This panel really reminded me of a certain panel from the Miss Fury comics by Tarpe Mills. It just had a real similar kind of feel to it. I just loved how the burst is coming from the gun, Marlene's eyes, and her Matt Murdock glasses.
What comic did this remind you of?
Miss Fury, are you familiar with that?
I know the name, but I've never read. Who did it?
It's a woman named Tarpe Mills. who was super, super great. Definitely one of my
How would one
favorite.
spell
It was
that?
a strip.
We're one to look it up.
The
Tarpe.
strip is Miss Fury, and it's Tarpe Mills, and she's awesome.
Cool. I know I've seen it on the shelf, like at Floating World Comics and stuff like that. I know I've looked at it, but I never really gave it its due, I guess. So,
yeah,
sorry.
you know, in the beginning of the Golden Age, she was kind of a superstar. She worked at I can't remember what the publishing house was, but real early on with Bill Everett before he worked at Marvel. I really should know this, but they were two of the kind of superstar artists. So she's highly recommended. But then
she was born a woman. Could have really went somewhere in that industry.
Oh man, I know. Yeah, her name was June, and actually went by that Tarpe, which I always pronounce Tarpe. But yeah, so she didn't go by her real name because Tarpe is kind of like, oh, is that a guy's
Gender
name?
neutral.
Yeah. So yeah, she had the same thought, and sadly had to not be called June.
So what was the rest of her career like? Did she have a long one, or was it?
Yeah, I mean, she did Miss Fury for a long time. She did a comic before that called The Purple Zombie that appeared in Amazing Man comics. This is super, super early Golden Age. And she's just super great. There's 2 volumes that Trina Robbins edited of the Sunday strips. It was a newspaper comic. Marvel published like 4 or 5 issues, I think, during the Golden Age that kind of compiled those. But it was a real successful actual newspaper strip.
Okay.
And
so 40s, you said?
Yeah, 40s.
Okay.
Yeah, super great. I think you'd really like it.
I'll look it up for sure.
Sorry, that was a super aside there.
Hey, we're here to talk about comics.
We are here to talk about comics. But
Questions are welcome.
To back up, so Marlene has just fired a shot. Strug is still holding Jack. Jack looks like he's passed out. And Strug just starts kind of pleading with Marlene. Hasn't Strug always done what Miss asked? Even when it hurt him, Strug tried. Hasn't Strug always tried? And he collapses because obviously Marlene shot him instead of Jack.
That is the most pathetic. I mean that in the true sense of pathetic, not the modern usage. That is like the saddest fucking thing, this sequence.
It's really
sad. Saying, why did you do this? I've always served you. I've always been loyal. And he starts clutching his gut and then crumpling over and then collapses.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal. It's really sad.
Yeah. But she seems to have a moment when he collapses. She says, "Oh my God."
Yeah, but that moment passes really quick.
Yeah. Oh boy. She looks at her father. Her father communicates something non-verbally to her, and she realizes, yep, take off the glasses. It's time to do a Gorgon number on this guy. So she says, I don't know how the hell you got away last time I turned you into a statue, but this time it's going to stick. And she takes her glasses off. She's got her freaky mutant eyes. And I love the panel where she's saying, this time, Jack Russell, you'll die. And she's taking her glasses off. You see her eyes. And in the reflection, you can see the beast howling in the lenses of her glasses.
That's so awesome.
So Jack is backed up against, thank God, a giant mirror. And if anybody is not familiar with Gorgon stories at all, this is telegraphed from, ancient Greece.
Every single one ever. So, I've never seen a Gorgon disposed of in any other way aside from a mirror.
Nope. So he's recoiling. He can start to feel his skin, the effect of the magic turning him into a statue again. And then he kind of leans over or something, and the mirror is revealed, and Miles, Blackgar, and his daughter Marlene see themselves. Oh, my Lord, no, the mirror, the mirror. And they are frozen in that position as statues.
Yeah, I love what Conway wrote at the bottom there, saying, for both of them, father and mutated daughter, the agony of life was over. The nightmare of hell was just begun.
Yes, I love that as well, because they are, by all evidence, completely terrible human beings who inflict a lot of pain and suffering on people around them. And so knowing that they're stuck in that form in a living hell of just being conscious and aware and unable to move is a great dessert for them.
It is. It is just.
It is just.
I love on this next page. So Lissa and Buck are still out. Marlene did something to them. And Jack kind of turns to deal with them again. and he's making a werewolf noise with a question mark at the end of it. So it's very almost Scooby-Doo, definitely. That made me laugh.
Or Home Improvement.
Yeah.
Tim Allen.
So this is also leads to a great panel because we see Lissa starting to slowly wake up. That goes to the next panel, her eyelids open, and then that third panel is Lissa and Jack in his werewolf form meeting each other. Their eyes meet. She screams, he screams. With a question mark again in his scream. He's more curious than anything, and she's fucking freaked out. And he bolts. He said, "Nothing here. Woman is gone. Won't hurt me again. Time to run, to hunt. The forest. At last, the forest." And we've been waiting for this.
Yes, we have. I think that's safe to say that, he's more afraid of her than she is of him. It's that old, that's bears.
Yeah, that's bears, not werewolves.
So Jack is bolted for the forest. He's been wanting to go there for a couple issues now whenever he's in his bestial form. He almost gets hit by a couple cars. The headlights slice across his body as he's running through the streets, people slamming their brakes on. He bolts off through the grimy streets. You can see LA's skyline in the background. And finally, he makes it to this gorgeous forest glen. He's climbing out in the mountains. There's pine trees everywhere. There's a beautiful shot of him raising his arms in exultation in front of a giant waterfall in the moon, just baying at the moon with happiness because he's finally able to do what his nature wants to do. And there's another great shot of him slaking his thirst in the creek water.
Yeah, but every panel, I know I said it at the beginning, but every panel in this fucking comic is beautiful.
It is. You're not exaggerating.
No, it is a treat to read. So we see, after he has drank from the river, he looks up and sees a giant buck. And it was funny. This was my thought process. And looking at this, I was like, oh, it's a buck. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to count its points. And so I count the points. And then I just heard Ernie Niles in my head just being like, I saw this gorgeous 15-point buck. I had this weird Twin Peaks thing. But anyhow, so he sees this buck. And he says, our eyes met, and in that moment, we knew. Then it goes to the next panel. He's running away. He says it was done quickly. So off panel, he's obviously killed this buck and eaten it.
I love that he's communing. He's doing his own thing. They lock eyes, and they're like, I'm dead. And he's like, yeah, okay, you're dead.
Yeah, he is totally dead.
And then he's fulfilling their destinies.
Yeah, he celebrates by running away, giving his best wolf howl to the moon that is mirrored by an actual wolf on a precipice. I was missing the precipices. There weren't as many this issue, and I was really glad to have this one with a wolf framed by the moon, both of them howling at the moon. It's amazing.
This one's going on Instagram.
Yeah, it should.
That panel definitely.
It's fucking awesome. And in the morning, I started home, he says. In the last two panels, we see Jack is now back in his human form and is going home.
Interesting that this last panel, beautiful profile of Jack. Like you said, he's walking home and he says, nor could I help wondering how much of myself had I left in that emerald heaven, that emerald hell. I love that thought as he's looking back at the trees, wondering what transpired that night and why does he have blood all over his chin? No, he doesn't have blood over his chin, but I do.
He totally
I do like
should, though.
Yeah. The next day, he's at Buck's, and he says, I must have blacked out when that Strug guy came in here. And this is what I wanted to ask you about. He says, up until an hour ago, it's all just a complete blank, right? So that same thing is like when Peter Parker says, I locked myself in the janitor's closet and missed everything. But Buck gives him kind of an odd look and says, sure, kid, no problem. And I can't tell if he's just being a very warm, nice guy that Buck seems to be, or if he's kind of saying, this kid's things don't add up around this Jack Russell dude. Do you think
this is the first instance where I think he's starting to.
Okay.
Like he's starting to realize something's up.
I love that I've forgotten most of these stories, so it's like reading it for the first time.
Yeah.
So he's like, you missed all the action. Lissa has a pretty wild story to tell you, and she's talking about seeing a wolf man. And she says, I'm not ready to talk about it yet, but what about Dad's book? And Jack reaches over and grabs a box of cornflakes that were sitting out when he and Buck were having breakfast before Strug broke in, and pulls a Darkhold out of the cornflakes box, which is fucking brilliant. I love
so
that.
Good.
Like, what quick thinking to tuck this, completely bizarre, ancient, archaic tome in there into your cornflakes. We neglected to mention, I think, that the book, The Darkhold, they did try and look at it a little bit when they first got back before Strug and the Blackgars came over, and it's in Latin. And Jack says it's all Greek to me, or Latin. And Buck says, I study classics. I can read a little bit, but he was laboring slowly over it. He translated about a half a page when the break-in happened. So they haven't got very far on the Darkhold. We did get to see a really cute little illustration of a wizard, though. Did you notice that in the one page that Buck was reading, or Jack was reading? They're saying, we've got the Darkhold, and Alyssa says, Buck, we don't want to be late for your big event for the opening. And Jack's like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I'm like, just come with us. This will be fun. So they go to an art gallery, and Buck says, I had to sprain my back getting in here, but it was totally worth it. And they go into an art gallery, and there's a white-haired dude stroking his beard, looking pretentious and studying it. And there's a bunch of people standing around, and Buck's looking back at Jack and winking with a big shit-eating jughead grin. And the exhibit that they're all looking at is Marlene and Miles Blackgar as statues. So they're stuck,
so awesome.
They're stuck there in a gallery, completely self-aware and awake, while people come in there and talk about the form and the lines and all this shit.
But this could be a classic Tales from the Crypt ending.
Totally. Yeah, there was a little more humor in this one than I was used to.
Yeah, I would say that this is the first. I mean, all the issues that came before were super great, and I'm not complaining about them at all. But I really think this is a perfect issue of a comic book from start to finish. And I know that when you picked it up as a kid, you were a little disappointed. You kind of came in at the end of the story. But still, what an amazing comic this is.
It really is. And I can't believe that this came out 3 months, I think, after Marvel Spotlight number 4. For all we know, we were talking about this last week. Maybe it was even drawn as Marvel Spotlight number 5 and kicked over to its own title. But I can't believe the transformation from Ploog being a rock solid Eisner acolyte guy who would have an amazing composition here or there, some amazing line work in one panel that really stood out and was just jaw dropping, to every goddamn panel in issue 1 of Werewolf by Night being that good.
Yeah, and I don't think it went unnoticed by the Marvel brass, because he was then illustrating Ghost Rider. He was illustrating Man-Thing. His workload at Marvel really stepped up.
Yeah, and if you've been listening with us from the beginning, we talked in the first episode that Marvel brass wasn't quite sure if Ploog was a good fit for the House of Ideas. They thought he was a little too cartoony. They were looking for more of the same, of the lantern-jawed, Kirby, thick-necked hero, whatever kind of guy, and they didn't think that Ploog was a good fit. And it took 3 issues of a comic for them to realize this guy is dynamite and we need to get him on more books.
Yeah, I think Roy Thomas really, really saw how good he was and just, decided to throw as much work at him as possible.
Was Roy the one responsible for bringing him into Marvel? Did he that was mentioned in that article, right? We talked about in the first episode.
Yeah, because Ploog tells a story that he brought an issue that was like his tryout. He brought in like the story he wrote that was a Western. It was like Tin Star, I think it was called.
Yep. Wow.
And I remember. Yeah, and Roy was just like, it was okay, but I thought I'd give this guy a chance. And then, it was a great move.
Yeah, obviously. Sure wish I could meet this guy. I met Zek. He's another one of my favorites. But Ploog's still around, yeah? I mean, there was a book, like a coffee table style book of different stuff throughout his career that was published 10 years ago. Yeah,
Ploog is still around. I don't think he has much of an online presence. I mean, he has an Instagram, but there's like no posts.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I followed him. I followed Conway. I'm going to follow everybody that's around, but I don't think he does anything on it. It looks like it was just one of those, you got to get an account before somebody takes your name, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think so. Conway seems to at least check his Instagram. So
you should see. You use Twitter. Conway is very active on Twitter, and he is very fucking pissed about the state of this country, and he's very unhappy with the dude in the White House.
Oh, that's awesome.
He fucking rants and raves all day long on Twitter. I love following Conway on Twitter.
Oh, that's great. Gerry Conway is awesome.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah, so I can't say enough good things about this book. That first issue that we talked about, I thought it was a serviceable werewolf story from Conway with some flashes of brilliance from Ploog, but I thought it was essentially disposable, and it was just a matter of setting up the character and his origin. I didn't think it was that exciting. The next 3 issues were everyone getting their legs. Like, how do we work in some magic? How do we work in some monsters? How do we do this? How does this work as a recurring monthly serialized story? And it took them 2-3 issues. They already hit it by the second issue, in my opinion. It was already starting to work. And then here, this Blackgar Island story to me, or Island of the Doomed, I think is what or Damned, proper name. It was already fucking platinum gold, in my opinion. So
absolutely,
we got some gold for coming up for a while. We have Conway and Ploog for I think 3 or 4 more issues, and then Conway steps away and Lynn Wein writes I think 3 or 4 issues, and then Conway comes back and writes another handful. And I think around 15 or 16 is when Wolfman steps in for his little bit through the Dracula crossover, and then I think that's that Munch Perlin run for the remainder of the book. Yeah, and we get some Gil Kane too. Here and there.
Yeah, you shot it.
Oh, and Tom Sutton. That. I love Tom Sutton.
We got good stuff coming up.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So far, I think that each issue is getting better than the last. So we'll see how long that goes. Because, I mean, it ran for 43 issues. I don't know what else to say. That's like 7 seasons of a TV show.
Yeah, it's not all going to be gold, but the majority of it is pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's great art and there's talented writers. So even when it's not a grand slam, it's going to be entertaining. I can tell you listeners out there that much. And we're going to have fun with it because we're loving the book, so we're going to be talking a lot about it.
Yeah, this was the most fun issue to talk about yet.
Totally. I wore my new Werewolf by Night t-shirt yesterday.
Nice.
Got some compliments. For you folks out there, if you're just jumping on now, we are looking for a sign-off. We don't know how to get out of this show at the end. We've just been fading off and fading in our theme song that we wrote. So if we could have a great, I don't know, maybe not Cronkite-like, but something really solid that's related to what we're talking about, that is a pithy, clever, cool way for us to end the show, so we're not just babbling until I can fade us out. Let us know on Instagram or Twitter. And if I like yours enough to start using it, I will buy you one of 6 different Werewolf by Night prints on a t-shirt and send it to your house. That's how serious I am about this. This is not going to be an ongoing. We've had a few people on Instagram chime in, a few of them, a little thank you, but a little punny. Not that I'm opposed to humor, but I haven't seen anything that tickles my fun bag yet. So keep giving me reasons to give away a shirt, and I'll pick one. But it has to be good. I'm not going to just pick one because people did stuff, because this is not that's not what the show's about. We're about quality. Yeah, no, we have to believe in it, because we'll quality be saying assurance, it at the end. Quality control, QA/QC, brother. And also, I will be giving away something else. I haven't decided what yet, but it'll be something monster related, something fun. But I want to. We're not doing it this issue. We'll probably start with the next one, but I want to encourage people to leave reviews for the show on whatever podcast app you use about the show. And we will randomly pick one. So it doesn't have to be positive even. It can be something that's like, Matt's voice is so sexy that I stopped paying attention while I was driving and I crashed the car, and now I'm talking to an attorney. I will take that. Totally plausible, by the way. Yes, totally plausible. Any review will go in the pot, and we'll pick one at random. We'll pick 3 at random once we get 10. And I will be sending some fun stuff out, maybe a Werewolf by Night issue, maybe another monster comic book, something fun to the first 3 people we draw. So please leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. So Jacob, you've been doing the monster multimedia experience here, the Werewolf multimedia. Talk to me about what you watched. My wife and I, during the pandemic this last month, we've been going on a night gallery kick of Rod Serling's early 70s anthology horror series. So we have been watching an episode of Night Gallery every night.
And we had watched it earlier in the month or last month, but I wanted to rewatch it. It's an episode called The Phantom Farmhouse. And it is based on a short story by Seabury Quinn, who was kind of an author of weird fiction. It was written in 1923. And this is an episode from 1971. And yeah, it's about a family of werewolves, or as they're called, loup-garou by the French Canadian.
The French, yes.
So cool. I love that phrase. It's so cool.
I love loup-garou too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically about a man who's a patient in a sanitarium who takes nightly walks to a rural farmhouse where this family of werewolves, who are also ghosts, kind of.
That'll happen.
But yeah, and so that's what the short story is about. The Night Gallery episode tweaks it a little bit to where it's more of a really upscale kind of mental hospital. It stars David Carradine as a patient who is like a hippie warlock who lures victims to this farmhouse full of werewolf ghosts.
I feel like I might have actually seen this one.
Yeah, it's David McCallum from
Man from Uncle.
Yeah, from Man from Uncle. So he plays a doctor at this hospital who falls in love with one of the werewolf daughter at this farmhouse named Mildred. And yeah, it's pretty great. I read so I watched the episode and read the short story, and yeah, I really liked it. I highly recommend it. I don't want to give the ending away, but it's really, really good.
No, you can't give the ending away. And Night Gallery is streaming currently is it still on Hulu? No, it's not, is it? It's on the NBC app, right?
Yeah, it's on the NBC app.
That's free, it says. So is that free with ads?
I'm not sure. We broke down and bought the physical media DVD.
Oh, wow.
Like I'm 100 years old.
Hey, man, when somebody takes away something from a streaming platform, that's when you realize physical media is important.
Oh, it absolutely is.
And I think that the shift towards entirely digital media is a really bad one, and it works in the favor of the man with a capital M.
Absolutely. No, like you said, Night Gallery was streaming on Hulu for like a fucking decade.
Yeah,
and we always thought it would be there.
Yeah.
And, we would watch it from time to time. And then like a year ago, they took it down. And we really wanted to go back to it during this quarantine. And so, yeah, we ended up getting the DVD set on Amazon and have been really, really enjoying it. So Night Gallery, I won't say that it's as strong as The Twilight Zone quality-wise, because it's not.
Agree. No, it's not.
No, I'd say about 1 out of every 4 episodes is really great. And the others are either bad or at least like kind of laughably silly.
Yeah. And I feel like, obviously The Twilight Zone, it's not, but even when it misses, it's enjoyable because tacky clothing or some random star that popped in that's like, what the hell is he doing here? Yeah, it's totally worth watching. I like Night Gallery. But it's a distant second to The Twilight Zone, but most things are.
Yeah, so what about
was that
you,
2
Matt?
Seasons? Was it just 2? Or was it 4?
Night Gallery was 2 full seasons of hour-long shows, and for each show there would be like 3 stories, like 2 longer stories and 1. The short ones that are only like 3 to 5 minutes long are normally joke ones that were written by the producer, and they're super bad, like pretty much always.
Like
and
gags?
Then they're gags basically. And the 3rd season was just half-hour episodes.
Didn't Batman do that? Or they split it into 2 stories per episode, or they cut that runtime in half or something the last season when the public was not amused anymore, which is completely understandable.
Yeah, it is, because let me tell you, we did a full rewatch of 66 Batman too, and the first season's great, second season is goofy, and third season is nearly unwatchable.
That's when Batgirl came in, right?
Yeah, sadly, and Yvonne Craig is awesome, and I'm glad that Batgirl is in there. But my God, they made her do stupid shit. But I love watching those episodes because each time that Batgirl's Bat Cycle would come out, it would enrage Alicia because there's like lace all around, like it's just encircled in lace, like this frilly stuff, and it just enrages her. So yeah, I love it.
Hi, Alicia. So I tried to watch a movie last night. I'd had a few drinks with my wife, and she had to go to bed to get up in the morning, and I was like, fuck it, I work from home now. I can stay up late and watch stuff. So I was flipping around Amazon, just searching Wolfman or Werewolf, and just seeing what was free. And I saw something that was called Bride of the Werewolf, and it said 2019. I said, wow, a werewolf movie that came out last year, and I haven't even heard of it. What an exciting surprise. Let's watch it. And then I clicked on you click it once and you go to the page for the movie, and there's more information. I saw that it was directed by one of the Polonia brothers. If you folks are familiar with what are normally called shitty movies or psychotronic movies or cult movies or trash movies, these two brothers, twin brothers, have been making these horror movies with zero budget. They started off like on camcorders and Super 8s for probably 30 years. They worked together and made some terrible films. We reviewed some of their stuff in our my other podcast called That's Cool, That's Trash. But I was not aware that the surviving brother was still producing stuff, and as recently as last year. So I clicked play and poured another bourbon and sat down and watched probably 25 minutes of absolute dreck. Some of the worst acting. Again, they still have – I mean, in this day and age, having a digital camera that doesn't look like film – essentially is ridiculous. I mean, I've watched feature films entirely shot on an iPhone that were gorgeous. So I don't know what the hell these guys are using, or the guy is using, but it's absolute shit. The actors are absolute shit. The Wolfman that we see in the beginning is wearing a white. He went to a Spirit Halloween store and bought a Wolfman rubber suit, essentially. And that is our monster. So I got 25 minutes into this nonsense and said, fuck it, I have to go to bed. I'm tired. So don't watch Bride of the Werewolf unless you like bad movies like I do, and give it a shot. But it's still rough even if you like bad movies. Yeah,
I'm probably not going to watch it.
No, I might go back in here sober and give it another shot and see how long it takes to piss Renee off. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, so I think we've covered all of our business. Next week we'll be back to talk about Werewolf by Night number 2. Anything else we need to say?
Not that I can think of, no.
Well, everybody go out there and leave those reviews. Think up a sign-off. Tell your friends about us. Thanks for listening, by the way. We're starting to pick up on some downloads, I noticed, so I'm trying not to babysit the stats, but see that people are listening. So thank you for checking us out. We appreciate it. Spread the word. And sign-off goes here.
Yep. Insert sign off here. Come on, everybody. We need a sign off. Help us out.
I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. No, that's taken. What other good ones are there? I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not taken.